Arca 1964 here again in a car park looking at a pretty sure Clifford's Tower in York. I'll see if I can get see if that worked or not. Yeah, I've been to Clifford's Tower. Perhaps most museums are placed in New York. I'm pretty sure it's Clifford's Tower. I've been a couple of times there, I think. Main thing about Clifford's Tower is back towards the first time, maybe. I'm trying to think when there was a massacre of Jews here. I can't quite remember the exact date. It was a period, basically, well, from Edward I through to Oliver Cromwell, Jews abandoned Britain to start off with. I'm not saying there weren't any here, but it was kept incredibly hidden, as there would have been possibly threatened with literally with death. So, here for a meeting, obviously in New York. The main reason is very valuable, new for me because I didn't know about it previously. Well, I think we missed the meeting before, but there's a £50,000 final race or some EBF maybe, I can't remember what it is. And that's not where it's not been to before. I often say every graded and group race in Britain, plus most of the listed races, now about 8 to 10. I can't remember, I've not been to so for those. But also thought I might just go for gradually 30,000 plus pounds to win their races, and this is one of them. Take a little longer, some of those are also be more obscure in places some of the listed races are in terms of being quite a bit of a trek, so I'll see how long that takes. Now I'm here, so I'm going straight from the station to the racecourse. Well, basically it's not even 12 o'clock yet, just come up to 12. Waiting until it starts 11:30. I think the train, I can't remember if I'm just in York or not, it was just a cheap train was just now. To actually at 10, I don't know, I can't remember, but I'm realising yesterday that looking through stuff that it's an awkward sort of timing 2 hours, getting to 2.5 hours. In that you don't get not keen really getting racecourse trials for first race, is what I would have done if I'd gone between to a racecourse. But also it doesn't mean that much time. I did think in York's what's it? Chocolate History or whatever it's called. There's one of the few major places in York museums. I mean, there's the York Maze as well. There's one or two others I've not been to. That's the majority of places I've been to in York. Since I went to the Air Museum last time I was here, last month, that was actually. I don't think if I mentioned that in a video. I went to York. I can't remember, but many videos not put out, I think. And I'm not sure whether that was actually after I went to the Air Museum or not. Problem there is that buses are over 2 hours, and I hadn't thought he's on his place to get a ticket for a year basically to come back, but with timing just didn't work out. So I might have to do that. Maybe I'm just going to be York for a day. I want to do that. But most of them it's just didn't quite enough time. York chocolate history thing. I had nothing to get there. It was a tour at 10:30, 11:30, and 12:45. Another time to walk to the grandstand where I got a ticket while the premiere today. But partly, and I knew I'd go to the grandstand because it worked out I'd get there maybe up to 10 minutes before the first race, which seems fine. But there can be a bit of a crowd, it can be tricky, the grandstand can take a little while to get into. And also when they see horse people first race, I may not be able to do it the rest of the meeting really, I might not actually do that because you want to walk through this place of grandstand. It's a little bit of a trek to a pre-parade and parade ring from grandstand. A few times in grandstand ticket I've just stayed in the grandstand, not gone to horse between races, so I'm not sure what I'll do there. So I had a nice croissant and a mocha at what was it? A specialty coffee. That's basically the name of the place in York. I did look where to get some food rather than yet again buying some cheap sandwich at the York place, Central News near Newcastle Racecourse, go somewhere else. The problem is not really everything wrong. Really nice food. It wasn't a lot though. I mean, not saying it was bad value or anything. Certainly it was not a common possible nice. It's not a lot. I'm late today, and I'm not gonna get home until about 11 o'clock tonight probably. Because I'm off to see, I'm waiting for a Rocky Horror Picture Show. Rocky Horror Show, I've been to the show 3 times, also a film, and it's the 50th anniversary of the film. We saw a very good documentary on it last week at Townsend Cinema, in the local cinema in Newcastle, where I live. And it's the 50th anniversary of the film. I don't know if it's today or not, I could look that up. But it's being shown again in the Townsend Cinema tonight, so around 8 I think it is. So basically going to train back from York to Newcastle. So I don't have time to really eat. I may have to find a sandwich from somewhere maybe, and rather not. And I put too much weight on, I'm realising this, and I had a prostate examination, as much fun as it sounds, 2 days ago, because I was A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, I was talking with Chris Hoy, great character, great cyclist, and also a great person, talking about his prostate cancer diagnosis, which is a serious diagnosis. Unfortunately, it's he looked well, but it is a late stage diagnosis, so obviously it is a fatal diagnosis, very sadly for him. I was talking about this, and I'm 53 now, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I was talking about symptoms, and you never got symptoms of prostate cancer. Apparently, was the sort of things you said you thought it sounded like you were just getting older, like pains and stuff. And I just two things, like you need the toilet more, frankly, and it's like back pain. I had two of those symptoms, but also symptoms of getting older and getting to be too fat. And so I had the examination 2 days ago, and yeah, no, it appears I'm just too fat. The doctor didn't say I was too fat. I said I think it's probably that, and he just said no, your prostate's fine. So I need a blood test, but you know, it seems okay. So I need to be careful how much weight I'm putting on. I put a bit more weight on recently, and I was tending to lose weight, and I've actually done the opposite a little bit. And so I need to be careful when I'm eating, really. And you know, getting out, you know, eating when you're out, it's not, you know, as bad as eating hopefully at home. And unfortunately, I'm getting a gout a lot these days. Things of the evening. I mean, I was at an excellent comedy show, Dan Davies, famous comedian, appears in QI, and of course was in Johnson Creek, talking also about his childhood. It was pretty traumatic, and really informative, really interesting thing. But he's actually getting out of stuff, and I was supposed to see Walt Gilbert tomorrow in Middlesbrough. Poor bloke is unwell actually. He had a cancer diagnosis, recovered from it, I think, but he's just saying he's got some sort of chill. He's just not well enough to perform, so that's been rescheduled for next March. Problem is right in the middle, I think, of when Cheltenham Festival will be, and I had thought maybe I went a couple of days last year, I said in the video, and I was thinking maybe if I find somewhere cheap to stay, if I could still find that now, and I might be tempted to go back actually, or maybe the Town Festival, but it's rescheduled, Gilbert Middlesbrough one it was in, for 13th of March, and I'm sure that's the middle of the festival, which is going to be a bit of a pain. I may have to possibly cancel it and get a refund of the ticket. It's just been scheduled, but I just did say get a refund, which is what I may do actually, and then look and try and make a decision later on. I think I'll have to probably decide quite quickly about a refund. I don't know if I can decide 2 months later whether I don't want a ticket anymore. But and then maybe we book we'll Gilbert if I change my note out. I'll probably cancel a ticket and just see about that. But down me is interesting. I might attempt to go to York tomorrow then. Again, I didn't do it because there's problems with there's no trains leaving Darlington tomorrow and Sunday because there's some track renovation or something. I'm not quite sure why it is. So it's really difficult to get. I was actually in Middlesbrough via Durham. I was originally going to talk. I was planning going to tomorrow afternoon, and then get a bus to Middlesbrough. And one reason I didn't go to York was because I was struggling to get to York to Middlesbrough afterwards for 8 o'clock. It wasn't convenient way of doing it. Now, because there's no gig tomorrow, a comedy gig tomorrow night, I may change my mind. I might be tempted to York. I don't know yet. I decide maybe to someone I get home at tonight and make a decision then. So I've got. However, I just remember what talky old load I booked. 11. I just remember this now. 11 o'clock to 12. That's in North Shields, and probably still to get to York then. Yeah, that's probably out then. I just realising that's now. But I paid for talk as them, and I prefer this meeting anyway over 2. There's more races I haven't seen. So yeah, no, I'll probably just see what I want to do. I booked a coach out of Middlesbrough for about 5:50, but I hadn't actually decided to get there luckily. So I might just stand there. Middlesbrough I think I might do and get a late coach back. I mean, although I don't want to spend time even in the pub, which is basically what I ended up doing, I think. The coach is about 10:30, so at night. So I thought, another race meet, if I keep looking at things and then deciding to do other things. As I said in my Newcastle video, I was doing Pontefract the 6th of October and also the 20th. Took that 6th of October out because I wanted to see Amanda Horn 60th anniversary show, and I'm sure I'd seen the 50th, the same people. The guy who played Kenneth Williams, the guy who played Kenneth Horn, I think he's looking a bit older, and I think, to be honest, it was a really good show, but I think he looks old, frankly, the guy, and I think he did as well as he could, but I just wonder if he's looking a bit old for the world of Kenneth Horn, although he was in his 60s and Kenneth Horn died, but I just wonder, it was enjoyable, very good. Guy Kenneth Williams was absolutely brilliant. I think he was brilliant 10 years ago. I think he's the same guy, actually. I don't remember being 10 years ago, but that's because, time disappears somewhere with it, and I don't know where it goes. But that was a top. I went with my mum as a top quality show. I think someone said, just someone talks about better talking to people than I am, and someone said, "Oh, I seem to think she brought me along. Really, I'd put her along to the show." But she's also a fan of the show. It was a radio show in the 60s. Don't know what Round the Horn was. But the 20th I thought of doing, and then I've decided to do Runcorn for the day, it says everything. Made a Sherlock Holmes fan, though, and actually went to an excellent play in Middlesbrough. Sherlock Holmes play, I can't remember the guy's name of it. It's a slightly made up show in which it's after time of show. So I thought it was the last Bow originally, and I mixed it up with something else, which is the last group of Sherlock Holmes stories Arthur Conan Doyle did with Sherlock Holmes pinned in the Second and First World War. I mean, obviously, about half of them Sherlock Holmes in the Second World War because propaganda and the like, or both sides of the Second World War were key had their propaganda stuff. Of course, Henry V and Lawrence Olivier, for example. Actually, do exactly the same thing. There's Donald Duck cartoon watched recently, which was a mock-up, almost hilariously funny in a ridiculous way. Mock-up Donald Duck accidentally bombing the French because he's not knowing what he's doing. It's worth watching. Actually, it's absolutely bizarre. But there's always play was really good. Yeah, but it was set after basically someone's sort of tired and Watson had died, and I think I might because last Bow, which is last year's book. This is a made-up story actually, but it's very, very good. But also there's also Construction Moriarty. I was hoping to see him in North Stage or Billingham Theatre last month, I think it was, and I just couldn't make the dates, and I look into that, and there's some dates next year. However, there's also two actors, no more for Doctor Who, Colin Baker and Tay Malloy. Colin Baker, 6th Doctor in Doctor Who, and Tay Malloy played Davos, and I think it's the 80s Davos he plays. There's various actors that played Davos over the decades, and the only place I can see it is either Runcorn or Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe, interesting, I've never been to before. It was a book called Jack's Return Home, which is set in Scunthorpe actually, and it's not set in Newcastle. I wonder why that is, because it's actually a free book for Get Carter's based on. So it's not about Scunthorpe, but that is, of course, it was now, about 55 years ago the book was written, around about then. But I couldn't quite Art Directorate 2, didn't really, and it was just meant I'd spend quite a lot of money to get to Scunthorpe. So and do nothing in Scunthorpe, there might be someone doing Scunthorpe, I don't know, and then go home again. And Runcorn works a bit better, but there's nothing in Runcorn either. I looked it up, and the only thing to do in Runcorn, it seems to be in Runcorn, is the theatre I'm going to. So, but luckily I've got a coach in Manchester to Leeds. I trained to Leeds to Manchester, and then Manchester to Runcorn, via possibly Liverpool. But I could just go to Manchester, spend the afternoon in Manchester. A lot more things to do in Manchester than there is in Runcorn, basically, and then go back again and get very late. I only get home about 5. It's really long, 6 in the morning. I'm annoying, but I don't have any plans in the morning I need to do. So that's really, so I can get away with that. But that's it. I mean, I was thinking of doing Weatherby on Friday, the Friday with Tally Hall, but then I got to talk Great Fernando and Dixon, the art lecturer and TV personality, really is. But he's actually an art lecturer as well as being on the telly. And is a talk at the Village Dome. I'm meant to get a ticket for it, so that's talked that out. I don't think I can do a Charlie Hall because itself. I've got a ticket for something at some gated little theatre to see kick out so much a lot these days. Steptoe and Son. I saw this last year. We do it once a year in this theatre. I mean, it's quite across the tour. It's a bit of a tour. Very good indeed. And it's just a thing. Could I actually get from Weatherby back at 7:30? It'd be a push. I think. Might be a push. I think it'd be difficult. We have to go back to Leeds. No, I don't think you can because I have to go over Leeds these days. Used to it's much easier to get back to York in the old days with buses, but I think bus stopped running, so that's the end of York, I think. Or certainly later, unless you go in winter time, there's not earlier buses or something. Well, I mean, not earlier buses, but meeting ends earlier. And that's about it. I've mentioned in Newcastle, one advantage, I've got some Newcastle video races. I have that one in Newcastle. I might do one later in the year, actually. And plus, I've also booked the fight in Fairfee. November plate and Misnamed Ladies' Day. There's a possibility of a midweek Musselburgh meeting on Wednesday in about middle of November. I'll have a look at other things. Doncaster Friday, Saturday, the Tuesday takes the possibility, but I've found a ton of stuff I can do on Saturday evening. And just without going to Donkey, not including Doncaster, I think I'll do one of those. So 12 things behind I could do in the north. So, sort of North Stoke, where sort of Yorkshire get to safe, reasonably back in reasonable time from Newcastle. As possible, I'll have a look and just see if any of them fit in with Doncaster or not. I'm not sure if they do. I might do that. Saturday, I think I've got plans. I'm not over the Future Stakes itself, and I think that's it. I'm trying to look into Ascot for the Berkshire National, like my national type races, and I knew it was on last year and I couldn't do it then. I was hoping to do it this year. The bleeding track was track renovation down to into King's Cross, so it's really A, slow, and B, expensive. Then we ran chances it runs up and put my last ticket, so it track renovation just never going to run cheap my last ticket. However, there's other options. There are options here. Bizarre, well, that's what I'm thinking. Bizarre one is Newcastle, Newark, and then change to Newark, Castle, going to London. But that, I think, remember why it requires me on 4:45 to get out of Newcastle, and also depends on the cost as well. Newcastle, Carlisle to Euston. That again may just not work. They know it was cost for them, and it may be too expensive. It's tricky, and I have to get back as well, and that's what maybe the main problem in getting back actually. There's other possibilities. I once went to Ascot. The only time I ever via Reading rather than via London. I think cross country, they're always expensive to cross country. I'll have a look into it maybe to the next day or two and see, but that's about it. I don't think there's anything else at the moment.